It all kicks off at Jiangnan University, where someone is urgently calling out for Lu Donglai. Inside the classroom, the professor barks at the kid to wake up right this second, since he was busy catching some Z's during a pop question. With that, our guy jolts awake, panting and totally spooked. All around him, his classmates are laughing their heads off, calling him a hopeless loser who can't even stay awake in class. Totally clueless, the MC wonders what on earth is going on, and how he is even still breathing. Demanding quiet, the professor shakes his head, saying it is a crying shame the Lu family has such a useless hair. Pretty soon, the students start whispering about how the kid is a walking punchline, only good for giving haters free ammo against his own family. Piecing things together, he realizes he has reincarnated. His soul just hijacked the body of this Lu Donglai kid. Back in his past life, he was the big boss, Yi Tianji, a supreme master in the cultivation world and an absolute legend at alchemy and forging. Having tanked the lightning tribulations, the cultivator was just one baby step away from passing through the immortal gates. But his epic run came to a crashing halt all because his partner stabbed him in the back. The backstabber was Shuanger, a girl he treated like family. Turns out, she was actually the Soul Emperor's daughter out for payback. Talk about a plot twist. Bleeding out, Ye Tianji listens to the girl mock his blind trust, asking if he would just throw in the towel without a fight. Fuming, the master swears that the snakes who double-crossed him are not making it out of there in one piece. As a Hail Mary, he decided to self-destruct, dragging those demon lords and the two-faced girl right to the grave with him. Since he really wanted a second shot at life, the master decides to take this new body for a spin, avenge the kid's bullying, and settle his own unfinished business from the past. Poking around the kid's memories, the cultivator realizes Lu Donglai was not actually a knucklehead. The truth is, someone had sneakily planted a toxic needle in his brain, messing with his nerves around the clock. Being such a precise and nasty piece of work, this definitely was not a DIY job by some average Joe. The original owner had already clocked out before the soul transfer, so that toxic needle needed to come out yesterday. Rising from his seat, the MC decides he is going to buff up this frail body and dish out some karma to everyone who messed with the kid as payback. Annoyed by the interruption, the professor orders the useless student to sit his behind back down. Thinking it is wild for a teacher to trash-talk his own student, the master fires back, asking what exactly the guy is trying to pull. Hit with that sharp comeback, the professor is left completely speechless by the sheer nerve of the kid. While the guy yells in disbelief, the cultivator finds it absolutely hilarious that someone is trying to boss around a former sect leader. Walking out of the classroom, the MC makes a promise to live his best life in this world with his head held high under this new identity. From that second on, Yi Tianji was history. It was all Lu Donglai now. Strolling down the street, the kid finds it fascinating how people manage to live such convenient lives without using an ounce of cultivation. Chilling on the ground in a quiet spot, he figures out the biggest issue with this place. Trying to soak up some spiritual energy, Lu Donglai realizes Earth is so drained it would take thousands of years to get his old groove back. Putting the whole energy crisis on the back burner, he focuses on the ticking time bomb inside his own head. Arriving at the university's guy's dorm, the place is dead quiet. Once inside his room, the kid gets ready for Operation Needle Drop. Locking the door, he breathes a sigh of relief that his roommates are stuck in class, meaning no one is going to crash the extraction party. Checking the clock, Lu Donglai confirms he has a little over 1 hour to spare. Plenty of time to get the job done. To keep the bed from snapping under his spiritual pressure, the cultivator decides to park himself right on the floor. Whoever did this knew their stuff, since the needle was not an instant game, over and flew totally under the radar of normal medical checkups. But a bargain bin trick like that is child's play for a supreme master, who immediately gets his energy flowing. Feeling how thin the needle is, the MC figures out the culprit was a total pro at energy control. With pinpoint accuracy, the nasty little needle is slowly pushed out of the kid's brain. Sensing the pure malice in the technique, he swears he is going to wipe the floor with the coward who did this to a kid. Because it had been stuck in the flesh for years, yanking it out drains a massive chunk of the cultivator's spiritual juice. With an intense burst of power, the needle is finally booted out of his system. The shockwave is so strong it actually cracks the glass of the clock on the wall. Totally wiped out, Lu Donglai collapses onto the floor, panting and feeling the toll of a body that has been put through the ringer. Unable to handle the crazy strain, the kid passes out cold right there on the dorm room floor. A little while later, he snaps awake on a super comfortable bed. Noticing the IV in his arm, the cultivator figures his little stunt landed him in the hospital. Then, he spots a girl crashed out on top of the blankets and lets out a surprised mumble. Rubbing her eyes, the girl slowly wakes up when she hears the noise. Beyond relieved, she calls the MC brother and throws a mini celebration that he is finally awake. Desperate for some answers, She sprints down the hallway, yelling for the medical squad. After checking the patient out, the doc promises the kid is just dealing with a mild case of mental burnout. Still worried, she begs for more tests, but the doctor assures her he just needs some good food, and he can be discharged. With tears in her eyes, the young girl gives him a beaming smile, making the master realize he has not gotten a look that warm in literal centuries. In his past life, Yi Tianji was a total gym rat, focusing on nothing but his martial arts grind. Digging into the memory banks, he finds out she is Ye Qiqing, his adopted parents' daughter who always played bodyguard against the bullies. That family dropped him like a hot potato once the mental diagnosis hit, but this girl never stopped having his back. Finding fate pretty ironic, the MC notes the wild coincidence that they both share the exact same last name. While she thanks the doc, Lu Donglai makes a silent vow that he will never let anyone mess with his sister again. Trying to chill her out, the kid jokes that her freak out almost gave him a heart attack. Wiping the tears off her face, he tells her to stop crying before she turns into a messy little kitten. Caught off guard by the sweet move, Ye Qiqing realizes her brother is acting completely different. Looking closely at him, she asks since when his eyes got so sharp and full of life. Mind blown, she finally connects the dots and asks if he is not a dummy anymore. Giving her a pat on the head, Lu Donglai confirms his clueless days are over, and he has finally got his brain working on full blast. With his mind running smooth, the kid shifts his focus to the haters hiding in the shadows. Giving off some serious main character energy, he promises that none of those punks are getting away with this. The next morning, the sun lights up the massive campus of Jiangnan University. In the packed cafeteria, a bunch of students start pointing at a guy who is putting away food like an absolute monster. Shoveling mountains of grub into his mouth without pausing, the MC devours everything in sight to get his stamina back. Even though his sister told him to rest, the cultivator knows the payback tour needs to start soon, since news of his recovery is going to spread fast. While the classmates gossip about whether he was possessed by a starving ghost, the master just shakes his head at how incredibly weak this body is. Without knowing who is pulling the strings behind the attack, the kid knows he will need to play his cards right. Focused on maxing out his stats as fast as possible, he spends a quiet afternoon at the library building. Flipping through pages like a machine, Lu Donglai speed reads through a massive stack of books. Sizing up the situation, he realizes the spiritual energy in this world is so garbage that traditional cultivation methods are basically useless. In the background, some students start making fun of the kid, thinking it is hilarious he is pretending to read just for clout. Ignoring the haters, the cultivator figures he will have to rely on herbs to tweak the formulas from his old world. Scanning the pictures in the guides, our guy looks for medicinal plants that pack the same punch as his usual ingredients. By the time midnight rolls around, the university dorms are dead silent. Sitting on the floor in the dark, the kid starts circulating his newly unlocked energy like crazy. Checking his own stats, he groans about how trash his body is, with all his energy channels completely blocked. To fix this mess right now, the master decides to jam all the power he hoarded over the last few days straight into those circuits. Locked in, his goal is to bluff the leftover toxins out of his system once and for all. With a controlled burst of power, Lu Donglai finally hits the first layer of Q condensation. Riding the high of his level up, he tests his upgraded senses, feeling every single breeze shifting around him. Suddenly, an unexpected noise pops up behind the kid while he is busy admiring his new gains. Spooked, one of his roommates wakes up out of nowhere and asks why he is chilling on the balcony in the middle of the night. Completely confused and half asleep, the roommate just tells his buddy to get back to bed so they can rest. Staring at the guy, Lu Donglai wonders if his little power-up made too much noise. Squinting in the dark, the roommate scratches his head, noticing his friend looks a little different. Thinking on his feet, the kid just gives his bro a quick hug to distract him and dodge any weird questions. Hyped up, the friend compliments the MC's new haircut, thinking the glow-up made him look way cooler. Seeing the innocent reaction, the cultivator breathes a huge sigh of relief that he was just overthinking things. Shivering from the breeze, the roommate heads back inside and tells him to go to sleep before he catches a cold. Mentally thanking these guys for taking care of the body's previous owner, the master gets back to business. To protect the people who matter, he swears he is going to level up non-stop, no matter what it takes. The next morning, the sun hits the girls' dorm at the same university. Staring at her phone screen, Ye Qiqing flexes the fact that her brother just solved a massive math problem in a matter of seconds. Curious about her sudden good mood, a friend asks if she is crushing on someone. Spinning around, the girl shoots down the dating rumors and brags that her big brother is finally back to normal. Stunned by the news, the friend remembers all the nasty rumors floating around campus about the Lu family here. Fed up with the gossip, Ye Qiqing defends the kid, declaring he is going to show everyone what he is really made of soon enough. Cutting the chatter, the friend pulls up a video that is blowing up on the school's social media. On the screen, the MC is doing some martial arts training on the sports field while the comment section roasts him alive. Panicking, the young girl realizes her brother is becoming the campus joke all over again. Outside, Lu Donglai stays locked into his routine, completely tuning out the peanut gallery. From a distance, other students point and laugh, calling him an idiot who thinks he is the next Bruce Lee. Checking his own form, the cultivator admits these basic moves are exactly what his current physical body needs to toughen up. Without skipping a beat, the kid hears heavy footsteps, stomping up behind him looking for trouble. Stopping a few feet away, the stranger blocks his path on purpose just to be a jerk. Turning his head slightly, our guy glares at the meathead who just ruined his flow. The bully, some guy named Lin Chun, stares back with a totally smug look on his face. Keeping it cool, the cultivator just asks who the guy is looking for. Smirking like he owns the place, the big guy says the rumors about the campus idiot being cured must be true after all. Faced with the cheap trash talk, the master just finds this whole thing incredibly annoying. With zero patience for playing babysitter, he lets out a tired sigh and asks the guy to move. Raising his voice, Lin Qin orders the kid to stay far away from Yi Qiqing, calling him a piece of discarded trash. Hearing that, the MC finds it beyond hilarious that an average mortal has the guts to insult an ancient immortal master. Cold as ice, the protagonist tells the punk that his sister's life is none of his business and tells him to take a hike. Thinking he won the verbal spar, the bully steps up, assuming the kid is finally backing off from the girl. But Lu Donglai pops his bubble instantly, telling him a pathetic loser like him would never be good enough for Ye Qiqing anyway. Furious at the straight-up disrespect, the big guy grinds his teeth, his blood practically boiling. Watching the dude throw a tantrum, the master thinks a guy like this would not even be qualified to sweep the floors at his old sect. Losing his cool entirely, Lin Qin lunges at the kid, ready to settle things with his fists. Spotting the cheap shot coming his way, the cultivator's eyes turn scary sharp. Flashing back to the glory days, he remembers how even emperors had to kiss the ground he walked on. With a casual flick of the wrist, the MC catches the guy's punch in mid-air like it is absolutely nothing. Frozen in place, the meathead is shook to his core seeing his full power hook stopped by someone so skinny. Taking the free opening, Lu Donglai twists the enemy's arm without batting an eye. Whipping out the first form of his martial style, he hits the guy with crushing force. The hit echoes across the field as the bully drops to his knees, screaming in absolute agony. Freaked out by the noise, the peanut gallery stops laughing and tries to process the crazy scene that just went down. Staring down at the pavement princess, the master sighs at how dumb you have to be to throw hands with a cultivator. Even though he is basically level 1 right now, our guy knows he has more than enough juice to handle regular humans. Seeing the aftermath, a classmate runs over to help Lin Chun, thinking it was just a sports drill gone wrong. Embarrassed, the big guy pushes the help away and tries to stand up on his own to save whatever dignity he has left. But he freezes on the spot when a suffocating aura locks onto him coming straight from Lu Donglai. Sweating bullets, the bully can't wrap his head around how a normal college student could feel this terrifying. Completely terrified and refusing to make eye contact, he meekly asks if he is allowed to leave now. Reading the room, the master figures this meathead does not have the brain cells to plan an unprovoked attack by himself. Backing the guy into a corner, the cultivator demands a name. He wants to know who used him as an attack dog. Shaking like a leaf, the bully immediately snitches, admitting he was set up by a freshman from the economics and management department. Before he can dish out round 2, the young girl's frantic voice echoes across the field, calling for her older brother. Sprinting across the campus out of breath, Yi Qiqing finally catches up to the duo on the track. Worried sick about the kid, she checks him up and down to see if the big guy roughed him up. Giving her a gentle pat on the head, Lu Donglai promises he is totally fine and tries to get her to chill. Shooting a death glare at the bruised attacker, the girl makes it clear she does not feel an ounce of pity for him. Yelling at the top of her lungs, she tells the meathead to get lost, reminding him she absolutely despises how he acts. Putting her foot down, Yi Qiqing warns him she will never forgive him if he dares to start trouble with her brother again. Scared out of his mind, Lin Qin nods and bolts, just relieved it is not the cultivator looking for more beef with him. Cooling things down, the girl introduces her bestie, Guru, to our guy. Scanning the friend, the master notices her unique physique and blocked channels, feeling bad that his low level means he can't save her from an early checkout. When asked if something is wrong, Lu Donglai plays it cool while walking, deciding it is better not to get too attached to his sister's friend. Instead, he decides to prioritize hunting down the mastermind behind the poison needle, leaving the girl's health issues for another day. Getting straight to the point, the cultivator asks where the economics building is, and the girls point him in the right direction. Marching across campus with a mission, he plans to drag every single snake hiding in the grass right out into the daylight. Watching him go, Guru tells her friend she is totally amazed at how differently the kid is carrying himself now. Meanwhile, the economics and management building stands out in the middle of the university. Inside, the students are already gossiping about Lin Chin getting his clock cleaned, convinced the idiot's recovery is just a big scam. Buying into the theory, Lin Nanhong thinks the Lu family is just using the kid as a pawn for some shady background plays. Pissed off, the head honko of the bullies slams his fist on the desk, letting out a burst of energy that actually cracks the wood. Standing up with a smirk, he promises he will personally snap this little hidden chess piece in half. Outside the room, our MC arrives ready to show everyone exactly what happens when you mess with him. Suddenly, the classroom door gets kicked open with absolute disrespect by Lu Donglei. Inside, Lin Nanhong was literally mid-sentence bragging about crushing the Lu family's pawn before the door went flying. Standing in the doorway with his hands in his pockets, the cultivator scans the room looking cool as ice. Freaked out by the dramatic entrance, the professor yells at the kid to get out, saying class is about to start. Acting like the teacher does not even exist, the MC demands to know which one of them is the target he is looking for. Right on cue, the students start whispering about how good looking the intruder is, before realizing it is the school's famous loser. Acting tough, the gang leader laughs, saying he respects the kid's guts for actually showing up. Ready to back up their boss, his goons crack their knuckles, looking for a brawl, barking like guard dogs. The thugs tell the intruder he has to go through them if he wants to reach the boss. Without even breaking a sweat, the master just steps aside and sighs at how pathetically slow their attacks are. In a split second, he delivers a devastating punch right to the goon's face. Sent flying by the insane impact, the lackey crashes across the room, coughing up red on the classroom floor. Staring down the frozen class, the kid warns them he is only going to ask one more time. Flexing a heavy aura, he orders the guy pulling the strings to step up right now. Shook by the raw power, the students wonder if this monster is really the same loser they used to know. It turns out Lin Nanhong comes from a military family, giving him crazy strength that everyone assumes makes him unbeatable against regular students. Stepping up to the plate, the bully admits they definitely underestimated Lu Donglei's hands. Tossing his jacket aside, the myth head flexes his muscles and proudly reveals he is the guy. Feeling the tension spike, the classmates whisper that the MC just dug his own grave by pissing off the top dog. Totally lost, one random student wonders what the heck is even happening in the middle of class. Acting like he already won, the leader tells the teacher to chill, promising he will wrap this beatdown up in record time. Unbothered, the cultivator offers to take this outside to the sports field, but the rival shoots it down, saying the classroom is a perfectly fine place to catch a fade. Cutting to the chase, the master asks for the names of the people who hired him, offering to go easy on him in return. Finding the threat hilarious, Lin Nanhong promises to teach the kid an unforgettable lesson for stepping out of line. Making the first move, the enemy charges in blindly, while the MC notes his refusal to cooperate. Barely trying, he catches the incoming punch, disappointed that this guy is all brute strength and zero technique. The attacker's fist hits like a truck, but Lu Donglei's hand does not even flinch. Jaw dropped, the student can't believe his best punch was stopped like it was nothing. Sweating bullets, he tries to pull back, but his arm is clamped down like it is in a steel vise. Catching him slipping, Lu Donglai pivots and gears up for a wicked counterattack. With terrifying precision, he lands a brutal kick square in the guy's gut. Unable to block, the bully goes flying backward, smashing through a pile of desks at the back of the room. Going into full panic mode, the class screams in terror seeing the toughest guy in school get one-shotted. Furious about the wrecked room, the professor yells that he is reporting this whole mess straight to the dean. Walking casually through the dust and broken wood, our guy totally ignores the terrified stares from the students. Whispering frantically, the class predicts the defeated bully's powerful family is definitely going to order a hit on the kid. Standing over his prey, the master watches the guy cough and wheeze in pain on the floor. Up close, the kid figures this guy's clan was just another pawn used by someone much higher up the food chain. Groaning in pain, Lin Nanhong asks what else this monster wants from him. Delivering a clear warning, the cultivator grabs the rival by the shoulders and tells him to leave his family out of these little games. In one swift and ruthless move, he casually pops both of the guy's shoulders out of their sockets. A scream of pure agony rings through the hallway as the tough guy wriggles around in the broken chairs. With the whole room completely dead silent, the master casually asks if the guy is finally ready to tap out. Traumatized by the rough treatment, the loser begs for mercy and swears he will stay miles away from the Lu family. Shutting that down fast, Lu Donglai makes it crystal clear his real family is the Yi family, telling him to stay away from them too. Happy with the promise, the master knows he had to play bad cop here, otherwise his sister would end up paying the price later. Mission accomplished. The kid turns his back on the loser and heads for the door. The protagonist's ice cold glare keeps everyone zipped shut as he walks right through the crowd of stunned students. Freaking out on the floor, Lin Nanhong screams at his useless goons to call an ambulance right now. Seeing red, the professor swears he is going to get the intruder expelled for pulling a stunt like this in broad daylight. Trying to calm the teacher down, a student finally speaks up, revealing the attacker is the legendary campus loser. Totally baffled, the educator wonders how a guy with hands like that ever got labeled a punching bag in the first place. A little while later, things are quiet over in the other management classes. Freaking out, a classmate tells Wikiking to check her feed right now, because the campus network is going crazy. On the screen, the video of the brutal knockout is doing numbers, with the comments hyping up our MC's hidden crazy strength. Bursting with pride, the sister does a happy dance, thinking her brother is looking like an absolute boss out there. Looking at the big picture, her friend warns her that beating up the heir to a military family is going to bring some serious heat. Wiping the smile off her face, the young girl grabs her phone to warn the kid about the storm heading his way. Meanwhile, the school system announces a massive suspension for Lu Donglai, who is just taking a nice, chill walk across the courtyard. Lu Donglai picks up his phone and hears someone yelling about a suspension, immediately asking why he should care. Annoyed by the volume, the kid pulls the phone away from his ear, while Yi Keking frantically asks if he is even listening. Talking a mile a minute, the girl is shocked by how chill her brother is, warning him that Lin Nanhong's military family is 100% going to retaliate. But the cultivator just shrugs it off, saying he will handle whatever comes his way. He figures there is zero reason to be scared of mortal power. Worried sick, the girl begs him not to leave the school grounds for a few days, promising she will track him down wherever he goes. Enjoying the breeze, the MC just says he needs to get a lot stronger and hangs up on his sister. Meanwhile, in a VIP hospital room, Lin Nanhong's mother is screaming her head off, looking at her son's bandaged arms. Absolutely losing it, the woman asks if the attacker has a death wish for pulling a stunt like that on university grounds. Grinding his teeth in pure rage, the meathead tells her not to involve his dad, because he wants to cripple the kid with his own two hands. Stepping in, the guy's uncle says it is completely unacceptable for a discarded Lu family pawn to lay a finger on his nephew. Looking ready to end someone, the uncle promises this disrespect will be repaid. Otherwise, their family will look like a joke in the city. Miles away, walking down the street, the master knows he can't afford to be sloppy right now, even if his enemies are just regular folks. Clenching his fist, he curses his current flimsy stats and decides he needs to level up his power ASAP. Standing on the sidewalk, the kid flags down a cab, deciding it is time to move on to the next phase of his master plan. Chilling in the back seat, the cultivator tells the driver to drop him at the closest traditional Chinese medicine shop. Gripping his wallet, our guy hopes refining this special pill will finally kickstart his physical stats. Soon enough, the car pulls up to an herbal medicine shop, sitting right in the middle of the city's busy commercial district. Leaning on the counter, Lu Donglai rattles off a list of super specific ingredients, leaving the cashier stunned by his hardcore herbal knowledge. Slapping the cash down without haggling, the kid just asks the guy to bag it all up quick. Back outside with his shopping bags, he knows the pill is going to guarantee his level up, but it stings that he just blew his entire life savings. Now completely broke, the master sighs, realizing he still needs to rent a quiet spot to actually cook the herbs. Just then, a familiar voice calls out to him. It is Ye Keking, running down the sidewalk totally out of breath. Catching up to him, the girl demands to know why he is out buying medicine, when she specifically told him to lay low. Wasting zero time, the cultivator says her timing is perfect and shamelessly asks to borrow some cash. Hit with the random request, both the sister and her friend just freeze up and make a confused noise. Holding up the bags, the kid calmly explains he needs to rent an empty room to process the ingredients properly. Rummaging through her purse, the sister pulls out some bills and asks if a little over 1,000 is enough to cover rent. Realizing he is short, the girl is actually happy he asked for help, figuring the meds are exactly what he needs to fully recover. Stepping in to save the day, the girl's friend hands over a bank card, shyly mentioning there is over 4,000 saved up on it. Taking the card, Lu Donglai memorizes the pin in silence, while the friend tells him not to make his sister worry for nothing. Scanning the friend, the master spots a dark energy lingering in her bones, knowing for a fact she will not make it past 22 years old. With the card secured, the MC thanks her for the clutch save and promises to pay every penny back in 2 weeks. Surprised by her own vibe check, Guru finds it weird she trusts the guy so much, feeling like he just gives off a super reliable aura now. Hitting the road again, the cultivator looks at the plastic card, fully aware that this tiny amount is literally the girl's entire net worth. Walking the streets, he realizes fate has a funny way of working. He tried to dodge drama, but ended up owing a favor anyway. Thinking about the friends messed up energy channels, the kid figures anyone else would have thrown in the towel by now. With a serious look, the master decides that not even the Grim Reaper himself could take her soul now that he is on the case. After a long walk, our MC ends up at a super sketchy, run-down apartment complex on the outskirts of town. Talking to the landlord, he hands over $1,800 up front to move in today, covering the security deposits. Standing in the dark room with his groceries, the kid focuses on the grind, knowing getting stronger now means bigger paydays later. Looking at the gross walls and busted ceiling, he does not care that the place is a dump. It is perfect for what he needs. Getting right to work, the master sets up a portable gas stove on the floor and bowls a massive pot of water to speed things up. Sitting in a circle of bowls, the cultivator preps for the mix, remembering there are 3 golden rules besides having the right recipe. Locked in, the kid mentally notes that the quality of the plants, the heat control, and the extraction process are the real keys to pulling this off. Glowing with an intense blue aura, Lu Donglai casually floats the chopped herbs in mid-air like an absolute boss. To max out the effects, the MC separates the ingredients into batches that need to be fire-roasted, water-dissolved, and neutralized. Working his magic on the plants, he groans about how toxic Earth's current environment is, totally nerfing the quality of the materials. Flexing his centuries of experience, the master uses his heat control to cook up the base medicine, finding the whole process insanely easy. Suddenly, the quiet room is shattered by the sound of someone absolutely hammering on the front door. Annoyed by the noise, the cultivator figures some guys with a death wish actually managed to track him down. Out of nowhere, a brutal kick blasts the cheap wooden lock to pieces, knocking the door wide open. Standing in the hallway, the intruders complain about how annoying it was to track the kid to such a dump. Drawing their weapons immediately, the masked goons confirm to their blonde boss that this is the target they came to deal with. Getting the green light, the thugs rush the kid, promising to snap every bone in his body right then and there. Keeping an eye on the boiling pot, Lu Donglai does not even flinch, just annoyed they crashed the party right at the most delicate step. Telling them he is way too busy to play with trash, the kid quickly slaps a heavy lid on the pot. Moving like lightning, our guy dodges their coordinated strikes, and readies the first form of his ancient technique. Seeing an opening, the master funnels his spiritual energy into his fist, and hits the invaders with a heavy blow. Rocked by the focused hit, the 2 goons are launched backward, screaming in pain. With 0 chance to block a perfect strike, the guys hit the floor, completely knocked out by the cultivator's raw power. Ignoring the bodies on the ground, the kid casually sits back down cross-legged by the stove to finish his cooking. From the doorway, the gang leader's eyes go wide, feeling the invisible pressure, wondering if this punk is actually a cultivator. Smirking, the blonde boss claps for the kid, impressed he did not just fold from a sneak attack. Catching a sudden strike with one arm, the MC checks the enemy's stats and realizes this guy does not use spiritual energy at all. As the blonde steps back to reset, Lu Donglai stands up holding the pot, admitting he might have underrated the fighters in this world. Staring the guy down, the master searches his memories and figures out this dude is a hardcore physical martial artist. Watching a flurry of fast punches, the kid admits a fighter at this tier hits way harder than an average person. Seeing the kid go on the defensive, the leader flashes a sick smile, mocking him for protecting a stupid cooking pot. Before our guy can say a word, the meathead unloads a massive kick right into the side of the metal pot out of pure spite. Watching the disaster unfold in slow motion, the kid grinds his teeth in rage, knowing the medicine just needed a tiny bit more heat to finish. Smelling blood in the water, the attacker rushes in to exploit the huge opening the kid left when he got distracted. But right before the punch connects, a massive wave of energy explodes out of nowhere, sending a shockwave through the whole apartment. Kicking up a thick cloud of dust and rubble, the smoke slowly clears to show a silhouette standing totally fine in the dark. Covered in dust, Lu Donglai is holding a glowing golden pill between his teeth. Hype that his rushed cooking actually worked. Completely blown by the impossible stunt, the blonde leader panics seeing the kid's terrifying aura spiking out of control. Cloaked in a fiery aura, the MC decides to use this martial artist as a punching bag to test out his new level 2 key condensation stats. Shook by the sudden boss fight energy, the gang leader wonders how a college kid can radiate something this scary. Taking slow steps toward the enemy, the cultivator simply asks if the guy is ready to meet his maker. Feeling the pressure, the mythhead charges in blindly, deciding his only chance is to strike first. Throwing a heavy palm strike, The attacker tries to land a critical hit. The kid just laughs, finding it cute he never noticed these weak moves before. With a casual swipe, the master swats the heavy strike away with one hand like he is brushing off a fly. The counter leaves the enemy on the floor screaming about his busted hand, while the kid admires the crazy stat boost from his new level. Sweating bullets, the gang leader demands to know who this kid really is, refusing to believe a random student hits like a truck. Sick of the stupid questions, Lu Donglai lands a ranged strike, telling the coward to keep his mouth shut. Cold as ice, he lets the guy know that absolutely no one in this world has the right to question him. Flexing some flames in his palm, the MC orders the guy to spill the beans on who sent him there to take him out. Warning him not to lie, the kid blasts a wooden table to splinters with one hit, saying the guy will end up just like the furniture. Terrified by the raw firepower, the tough guy coughs on the floor of the wrecked room. Begging for his life, the attacker immediately snitches, revealing the young master of the Lin family ordered the hit. Confirming what he already knew, the cultivator realizes the rival clan moves a lot faster than he expected. With his eyes glowing a crazy purple, the master decides the Lin family is going to pay this debt back with serious interest. Trying to save his own skin, the lackey asks if he gets a free pass now that he sang like a bird about his boss. Deadpan, Lu Donglai agrees to let him walk, but adds a catch, making the coward realize nothing comes for free. Getting straight to business, the cultivator points out the trashed apartment and demands immediate compensation for the damages. Completely caught off guard, the mythid can't believe this terrifying monster just wants a payday. Seeing the guy freeze up, the kid asks in a scary tone if there is an issue. Panicking, the intruder swears he will pay up right away. Desperate to survive, the boss kicks his knocked out buddies awake, yelling at the idiots to get up and wire the money to Master Lu. A few seconds later, the kid's phone dings with a very generous transfer of over 200,000 hitting his account. Flashing the receipt on his phone, the attacker nervously asks if they are good to go. The master just tells the squad to get out of his sight. Without looking back, the three thugs sprint out the door of the ruined apartment, like their lives depend on it. Once outside, one of the goons asks why they are running when they still haven't finished the job for young Master Lin. Annoyed by his buddy's sheer stupidity, the boss tells him throwing hands is useless when you can just pay your way out of a beatdown. Alone again in the dark room, our guy lets out a tired sigh, realizing this mortal world completely revolves around money and clout. Looking at the wrecked pots on the wet floor, he is super bummed about losing the pills that would have rocketed him to level 3. Digging through the mess, the kid picks up one tiny golden pill, annoyed that this is all he has to show for his hard work. With no other options, the MC tosses the pill into his mouth to lock in his energy gains. Sitting cross-legged covered in flames, he focuses on stabilizing his new level so he does not drop back down to level 1. Completely in the zone, sweat drips down the cultivator's face as the aura cycles through his system. Out of nowhere, an intense purple light flashes in the kid's eye right in the middle of his deep meditation. Standing up surrounded by floating magic, the master's as hyped to unlock the insane hidden bloodline of the body's previous owner. Known as the Extreme Purple Demon Eye, this cheat code lets him see the true essence of anything and reveals objects' original forms. Taking his new toy for a spin, he turns his head while his eyes are still glowing that creepy purple. Staring at a fridge against the wall, our MC can see straight through the metal, checking out every single thing inside with perfect clarity. Thrilled with the random buff, the cultivator knows this talent is top tier, something he actually wished he had back in his past life. But the hype train derails when a sharp pain stabs him right in the eye, shutting off the magic light instantly. Feeling a massive wave of dizziness, he almost face plants, realizing the technique burns through spiritual energy he just does not have yet. Stressed out by the drain, the young guy starts doing the math on his expensive herbs, the ruined pills, and the repair bill for the apartment. Too tired to stand, Lu Donglai flops onto the cold floor, complaining about how living in this mortal world is basically a pay-to-win game. While he is chilling on the floorboards, a notification sound from his phone breaks the heavy silence. Checking the screen, the kid reads an article about some guy who bought an old vase at a flea market and flipped it for over 10 million. Spotting the ultimate side hustle, our guy decides to use his new X-ray vision to go treasure hunting and fix his cash flow problems. Skipping the rest day, he jumps right back up, hyping himself up to hit the streets immediately. Power walking through the crowded antique market in the old city, the kid crosses his fingers hoping to score some hidden gems. Taking a deep breath before diving into the mob of shoppers, the cultivator preps himself for a marathon of scanning. Keeping his eyes on the prize, the master activates the Extreme Purple Demon Eye to sweep all the vendor stalls at once. Right away, a seller tries to hustle a fancy blue vase for 30,000. Swearing up and down it is an authentic Ming Dynasty piece. Staring it down with his cheat code eyes, the kid inspects every single detail hiding under the shiny paint job. In a matter of seconds, the magic vision confirms that the quotient vase is nothing but a cheap knockoff. Walking away from the busy stall, the MC roasts the terrible fake aging technique, leaving the vendor totally triggered. After checking out a bunch of shops, Lu Donglai only sees absolute garbage, complaining that this market is a massive waste of time. Rubbing his tired eyes, he knows he has to stop spamming his ability, or else he is going to pass out in the middle of the street. But right when he stops to catch his breath, the kid picks up a super faint pulse of spiritual energy coming from a table up ahead. Zeroing in on the goods, the master spots a dark chunk of iron with a weak green glow hiding deep inside it. Hyped about the epic drop, the cultivator knows finding any spiritual energy on this dead planet is basically hitting the jackpot. Getting closer to the prize, the kid notices a bald guy in camo gear staring hard at the exact same iron block. Once the guy walks away, the MC realizes the dude was a martial artist, figuring this city is crawling with more fighters than he thought. The vendor mentions he is open to haggling, playing it safe. The cultivator decides not to buy the block directly so he does not look suspicious. Acting like he couldn't care less, the young guy strolls up and casually asks for prices on a bunch of random junk on the table. Looking at the kid's cheap clothes, the shop owner thinks he has found a sucker, convinced he can totally fleece this naive student. Throwing out crazy high prices for basic items, the seller hears the kid complain and sarcastically suggests he should just go rob a bank. Doing some quick math on his phone, Lu Donglai cooks up a plan, deciding to buy a pricey fan just to use it as cover for the real prize. Driving a hard bargain, the kid agrees to buy the fan if the vendor throws in the iron block for free. The owner takes the deal without a second thought. After transferring the cash, the master celebrates his massive W, totally ignoring the merchant who thinks he just scammed an idiot. With a smooth flick of his wrist, the MC snaps his new fan open, enjoying the cool breeze on his face. In an insane stroke of luck, he realizes the cover item is actually a legit antique too, meaning he could easily flip it for 100 times the price right there. Suddenly, someone screaming for a doctor cuts through the chill morning vibe in the crowded street, yelling that a guy just collapsed, passed out in the dirt. An old man is completely unresponsive while his grandson, Chen Yang, shakes him and begs the heavens for a miracle. Kneeling next to the sick old man, the camo guy from earlier orders the kid to call an ambulance ASAP to save the rich VIP. Watching the drama unfold from a distance, our guy figures this family must be seriously loaded if they have a martial artist on the payroll. Not really caring about the mess, the cultivator decides to mind his own business, wanting to get home and forge his shiny new artifact. Stopping in his tracks, Lu Donglai hears the grandson yell that he will drop a 100,000 yuan reward for anyone who saves his grandpa. Hooked by the cash, the MC decides that kind of money is a perfectly good reason to stick his nose into their business. Crouched by the old man, the bald bodyguard says the ambulance is 10 minutes out, sending the grandson into a full-blown panic about the time. Freaking out over his grandpa fading fast, the young guy begs the crowd for any random doctor to step up and do some first aid, but the bystanders all back away, terrified of getting sued if the old guy kicks the bucket on their watch. Seeing everyone bail on him, Chen Yang cries, hugging his grandpa, wondering if there is really nobody who can help. Right then, the cultivator confidently pushes his way through the scared crowd. Startled by the sudden approach, the bodyguard and the grandson stare in shock at the college kid crashing the scene. Standing tall, Lu Donglai looks them dead in the eye and says he can keep the old man breathing. Caught off guard, the young guy looks at the kid's casual outfit and asks if he is actually a doctor. With zero hesitation, the master says nope, but doubles down that he has what it takes to keep the guy out of the grave. Annoyed by the disrespect, the bodyguard steps in, warning the kid he is going to pay the price if this goes sideways. Ignoring the threat, the MC lands a lightning fast strike on the meathead's hand to knock him out of the way. Taking the opening, the kid warns them the old guy is actually going to meet his maker if they keep wasting time arguing. Totally shook by the heavy hit, the martial artist backs up, holding his hand and wondering what the heck just happened. Still rattled by the kid's raw physical power, the guard immediately follows orders when the master tells them to sit the old guy up. Standing behind the patient, the cultivator calculates that his current energy is more than enough to clear the blocked channels near the heart. Wasting no time, he charges up a glowing blue aura in his palm, getting ready for the mystic treatment. Looking dead serious, the MC thrusts his arm forward to blast the healing energy into the guy. The heavy strike lands on the old man's back, forcing the spiritual energy deep into his fragile body. Reacting to the intense technique, the old guy coughs up a huge puddle of dark red on the pavement. Terrified by the brutal scene, Chen Yang screams for his grandpa, convinced the kid just ended him. Seeing red, the bodyguard curses out the kid, and demands to know what he just did to the head of the family. Cool as a cucumber, the master just sighs, completely annoyed by all the useless screaming. Losing his mind entirely, the bald fighter charges at the student, ready to avenge his boss. Mid-charge, the meathead promises the kid is not making it out of this alley alive. But right before the hit lands, the cultivator casually points 2 fingers near the guy's forehead, looking incredibly dangerous. With an ice-cold glare, Lu Donglai tells the guy this is his last warning, advising him not to twitch a single muscle. Sweating bullets from the heavy killing intent, the martial artist panics, realizing he just got completely outclassed. Breaking the crazy tension, a weak, scratchy voice tells the guard to stand down immediately. Coughing a bit, the old man finally wakes up, leaving his grandson crying tears of pure joy that he made it. Relieved, the patient says it felt like a boulder was crushing his chest, but now he can breathe like a champ. Calming his grandson down, the old guy confirms to the guard that the student was the one who pulled him back from the edge. Super grateful, the VIP thanks him for the save, but our guy cuts the small talk and tells them to pay up. Watching the vibe shift, the crowd starts whispering, finding it hilarious that the kid is aggressively asking for his money. Tired of wasting time, the master reminds them he only stepped in for the cash and hopes the rich family is not going to cheap out now. Loving the kid's blunt attitude, the old man lets out a huge laugh, slapping the kid on the back for keeping it real. Without missing a beat, the rich patriarch orders his grandson to hand over the cash to their savior right now. Handing over stacks of bills, the bald guard apologizes for the mix-up and thanks him for the save. The crowd watches with total jealousy as a ridiculous amount of cash changes hands right there on the street. Holding the bag, the cultivator thinks it is wild to carry that much cash around, confirming these guys are definitely billionaires. With the bag secured, the kid says business is concluded and turns his back to head out. Instantly, the old man asks the young guy to hold up, making the master stop and ask what the deal is now. Explaining his situation, the VP reveals he has been dealing with this heart issue for ages and regular doctors are basically clueless. Looking hopeful, the old man admits the treatment felt magical and asks if the kid can cure him for good. Faced with the request, the MC stays quiet for a second, just running the numbers in his head. Checking the patient's stats, the master figures that with his current level and a decent pill, a full cure is light work. Sounding completely confident, the kid looks right at him and says he can definitely fix the problem permanently. Shocked by the flex, the grandson questions him, pointing out that not even top-tier hospitals could pull that off. Brushing off modern medicine, the cultivator says his skills are just on another level. Catching the hint, the old guy asks for the price tag. Trying to guess the cost of a miracle, the patient slowly holds up one finger, waiting for $1 million quote. Right back at him, Lu Donglai holds up a finger and quotes 100,000 for every extra year of life, guaranteeing the guy another 2 decades. Eavesdropping, a nosy bystander does the math and thinks it is absolutely insane for a kid to demand $2 million for a treatment. But plot twist, the rich patriarch lets out a massive laugh right in the middle of the crowd. Thrilled with the deal, the old man says that is a total steal, proving to our MC that this family has some serious deep pockets. Short on cash at the moment, the patient asks for the kid's bank info so he can wire the fortune tomorrow. Rejecting the IOU, the master turns around and coldly states he does not do tabs for anyone. Laying down the law, he tells them to meet him at this exact spot in 2 days, demanding the money up front before he works his magic. Totally cool with the tight deadline, the rich guy agrees and respectfully asks for his savior's last name. Walking away into the sunlight, the kid just drops his family name and vanishes into the busy market. Still skeptical, Chen Yang asks if they can actually trust the guy. The grandpa fires back, asking the guard if he felt the kid's crazy power earlier. Validating the hype, the mythhead admits the student's fighting and healing skills are completely off the charts. Smiling, the patriarch says his years in the military gave him an eye for talent, and he is never wrong about people. While the family stands there amazed, the MC strolls away, thinking today was a pretty solid payday. Holding his new shiny rock, the kid figures the cash in hand, and the incoming payout will fix his money problems for a hot minute. Out of nowhere, the cultivator's super hearing picks up a familiar and very annoying sound cutting through the street noise. Stopping dead in his tracks, the master instantly realizes there are 3 guys trying to sneak up behind him. Judging by their footsteps, he knows the stalkers are a few yards back and have been tailing him for a while. Not sweating the ambush at all, the kid keeps walking, casually leading his stalkers right into a dead-end alley. Running through his ops list, the kid wonders if it is the rival's goons or the military guard coming back for round 2, but then he recognizes the clumsy footsteps, confirming it is just that same squad of useless college dropouts. Reaching the alley, the attackers stare at their target, planning to jump him since they know they can't beat him in a fair fight. Thinking they have the upper hand on a solo target, the three thugs step into the dark alley, ready to finish this. Fed up with these guys not taking a hint, the cultivator decides he is done playing nice with people who refuse to learn. Chilling at the end of the dirty alley, our MC waits in the shadows, ready to take out the trash. Stopping in the middle of the alley, Lu Donglai spots the three goons waiting for him in the shadows. Acting all tough, the blonde leader smirks and asks if the kid is surprised to be getting jumped again. Casually dropping his bag on the ground, the cultivator admits he honestly did not see this level of stupidity coming. Flaunting a terrifying red aura, the master asks why total losers are still trying to pick a fight. Crushed by the heavy pressure, the attackers back up, looking absolutely terrified. Trying to hide how scared he is, the blonde mythid clicks his tongue, looking visibly annoyed. Wasting no time, he orders his boys to rush the kid, promising to finish the job right here. Following orders, the two lackeys charge straight at the MC in the empty street. Sizing them up, the master knows these basic mortals do not stand a chance against his stats. Winding up an attack, he wonders what these guys are actually trying to achieve. Freaking out, the goons can't process how the college kid got so fast all of a sudden. Finding the perfect opening, our guy delivers a brutal double strike straight to their chests. Sent flying by the massive hit, the duo screams in agony before crashing hard onto the pavement. Desperate, the leader lunges with a dagger, swearing he is taking the kid to the grave with him. Side, eyeing the cheap shot, Lu Donglai just tells the trash to go straight to the afterlife. Using just 2 fingers, the MC catches the blade in mid-air like it is child's play. Keeping a grip on the weapon, the kid reminds the guy he already gave them a pass and demands some answers. In a flash, he delivers a nasty kick to the attacker's gut, doing some serious damage. Walking over to the guy on the ground, the cultivator asks exactly how much the Lin family paid for this hit. Even while eating pavement, the blonde leader laughs like a maniac, telling the kid he is already a dead man. Confused by the loser's sudden confidence, the master just asks what the heck he is talking about. Suddenly, loud sirens blast through the alley, announcing that the cops just crashed the party. Blocking the only exit, 2 police cruisers slam on the brakes right next to the brawl. Hopping out of the car, the captain yells at everyone to freeze and put their hands up. Seeing the bad odds, Lu Donglai knows he is not bulletproof yet and decides to play it cool. Guns drawn, the cops scream at the young guy to get his hands in the air right now. Going quietly, the MC thinks it is super sus that the cops showed up with perfect timing. The captain officially arrests him for armed assault, even though the kid points out he was just defending himself. Playing dumb, the dirty cop holds up the confiscated knife and calls it undeniable proof. Cutting him off, the officer tells the kid to save his breath for the station and shuts the conversation down. Doing the perp walk, the blonde thug whispers a taunt, telling the kid his life is officially over. With everyone loaded in, the cruisers speed off through the city streets. Chilling in the back seat, the MC calmly asks the cops what their endgame is here. Taking a drag of his cigarette, the arrogant captain says the kid should already know the answer. Without missing a beat, Lu Donglai drops the rival family's name, earning a sarcastic clap from the cop. The guy thinks it is hilarious that a discarded pawn thought knowing martial arts meant he could mess with the rich kid. Acting all high and mighty, the officer assures him that throwing hands means nothing against real money and power. Staring daggers, the cultivator makes a silent promise to make them pay for this with serious interest. Miles away, the sun is slowly setting behind the massive central hospital. In the VIP room, a lackey tells the bruised hare that they finally got the target locked up. Lurking in the shadows, the meathead promises the student is about to learn a very painful lesson. Meanwhile, the police car cruises down the empty avenues of the city. Breaking the silence in the back, the master suggests the cop should only lock him up for 2 days tops. Annoyed by the disrespect, the captain asks if the idiot realizes how much trouble he is actually in. But the kid just casually mentions the cops might still save their jobs if they let him walk right now. With eyes like ice, the master promises the officers will be begging for his forgiveness in a few days. Leaking pure killing intent, the kid's vibe makes the captain sweat bullets in the front seat. Freaking out, the cop yells, asking who this Lu family trash thinks he is trying to scare. The driver is visibly spooked, but the boss tells him to shut up, reminding him their rich backer is the only law that matters. Shortly after, the cruisers finally pull into the lot of the main precinct. Dragging the kid out of the car, the officers hustle him across the parking lot. Inside the station, the captain proudly reports the successful bust to the crook chief. With an evil smirk, the chief says the fake confession is already signed and seals the kid's fate. Not even slightly scared, the cultivator asks if they aren't worried about framing him in broad daylight. Hearing that, the dirty chief lets out a villain laugh, acting like the question is a massive joke. Cocky as ever, the corrupt cop brags that he runs this town mocking the naive college kid. Then, he orders the guards to strip the target of all his stuff, so he can't pull any fast ones. Being led down the hall, the kid overhears the guards joking about tossing him in the cell with the hardcore criminals. Tired of these games, Lu Donglai realizes his rivals paid for the VI prison package too. Stopping at a heavy metal door, the guard shoves the prisoner inside without a second thought. Right before the door shuts, our MC sarcastically tells the guards to enjoy their badges while they still have them. With a loud metallic clang, the heavy cell locks, officially trapping the kid inside. In the dark room, a bunch of glowing red eyes lock onto the fresh meat like hungry wolves. Happy with the delivery, one of the inmates recognizes the kid from the rival clan's hit list. Flashing a gold grill, the cell boss gets hyped for some late night entertainment. Without even getting out of bed, the big guy tells his crew to teach the college boy the house rules. Surrounded by cutthroats, Lu Donglai thinks about how much money his rival must have burned on this setup. Ignoring the threats, the kid just casually walks over to find a quiet corner to chill in. Triggered by the disrespect, a goon with a mohawk grabs the kid's shoulder looking to start something. Not even looking at him, the master just tells the trash to back off. His thug pride wounded, the inmate clicks his tongue, absolutely boiling with rage. Losing his mind, the guy throws a wild punch at the back of the kid's head, trying to give him permanent brain damage. With perfect reflexes, the cultivator blocks the cheap shot, catching the fist in mid-air. Showing zero mercy, the kid snaps the guy's arm in a completely unnatural direction, delivering maximum pain. Shocking the whole cell block, the attacker hits the floor crying and holding his busted arm. Watching their buddy's arm get snapped like a twig, the rest of the inmates stare at the new guy in total shock. With the room buzzing, the boss, Scarface, steps up and gives the kid props for his hands. Slapping a hand on the MC's shoulder, the method tells him that in here, even the tough guys have to bow down and take orders. Going full villain, the leader promises to break every bone in our guy's body until he is begging for the end. Wrapping up his monologue, he says this beatdown is exactly what happens when you cross young Master Lin. Hearing that, the rest of the cell block starts going crazy, cheering for their boss to paint the walls red. Thinking he has already won, the criminal tells the cultivator to get on his knees and kiss his shoes if he wants them to go easy. Instead of listening to that garbage, the master grabs the big guy's hand and viciously bends his fingers backward. With eyes completely dead, Lu Donglai loses his patience and asks why this pile of trash can't understand a simple warning. Screaming in agony, the attacker grinds his teeth and curses the kid out for the sneak attack. Humiliated, the boss screams for the whole squad to jump the college kid at the same time and cripple him. Reminding them they have a blank check for this hit, the criminal yells that he is starving for some brutal payback. In seconds, the inmates swarm the MC from all sides, swearing they are going to teach him a lesson he will never forget. Scanning the room, the kid notices they all reek of bad vibes, confirming there is not a single innocent person in this cell. Deciding the kid gloves are coming off, the cultivator sparks up an intense blue flaming aura in the palm of his hand. Now overflowing with spiritual energy, the master decides there is absolutely no reason to hold back against scumbags like this.